Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wa ala ahlihi wa sahbihi wa mawala. A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri. Wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amma ba'du, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Lesson number one. This is the explanation of the book itself, the key of Dr. Abdurrahim. So in this lesson, we'll take the explanation of the key also, so that we'll have a good understanding before we go into the actual lesson one itself. In this lesson, of course, it's just only about i'rab. So al-i'rabu wal-bina'u fil asma. So that is declension of nouns, and then al-i'rabu wal-bina'u fil af'al. That's the moods of verbs. For some reason, i'rab is translated as mood when it comes to verbs. So the first part of the lesson talks about declension of noun, fil asma. So it says we have already seen in part 1 and 2, that's Juzul Awal wa Thani, that most Arabic nouns are declinable. They are mu'rab. That is, they indicate their function in the sentence by their endings. And these endings are three, because we're talking about fil asma. So the endings are three. And the first ending that the noun can be in is to be to end with a dhamma. And this will indicate the nominative case, that is a rafa. And this is talking about, of course, the asliya ending. A noun with this ending is called marfu'. So the actual act is a rafa, and the noun is marfu'. That is the noun that finishes with a dhamma, which is the sign of rafa'. And the other ending is the fatha, which is to indicate the accusative case. And the accusative case is the English of the nasb. A noun with this ending is called mansubun. And number 3, the kasra, to indicate the genitive case, al-jar. And a noun with this ending is called majrurun. Now, when you're looking at this, it will seem, well, this is basic. We know this. But that's because we've been talking about it for a very long time. And this is how all of the concept of the book is. The first time you are introduced to something new, it seems overwhelming. But if you take it gradually and you keep repeating the concept, it looks very easy. So these are examples. Dakhala al-mudarrisu. So in dakhala al-mudarisu, you already know that al-mudarisu, because it is a fa'il, it has to be marfu', and then it is marfu'un bi dhamma. So we say dakhala. This is a jumla fi'liya. Dakhala is your fi'lu madi mabniyun ala fath. Remember, fi'lu amrin wa mudiyin buniya. So dakhala is fi'lu madin mabniyun ala fath. And then you have al-mudarisu, which is fa'ilun marfu'un bidamma. That's what we're talking about here. So the teacher entered, of course, that's the translation. Here, al-mudarisu is marfu' because it is the fa'il. And we'll still talk about what nouns must be marfu', what group of nouns must be majru, and what groups of nouns must be mansub. The example of nasb is when you say sa'altu al-mudarrisa. Sa'altu al-mudarrisa. I asked the teacher. In this, how do we do the i'rab of this sentence? This is a jumla fi'liya. This is sa'altu. So sa'al is your fi'l madi. And then the tu is your fa'ilun marfu'. Taduma tu. So you say tu في محل رفع فاعل, and المدرسة in this case is the مفعول به منصوب بفتح. Here المدرس is منصوب because it is the object it is the maf'ulun bihi, al-maf'ulu bihi. Another example is that's the example of khafd or jar. هذه سيارة المدرس, and this is giving example of مضاف ومضاف إليه. هذه, so this the i'rab of the whole sentence you have. This is a jumla ismiya. هذه is your mubtada, and then سيارة, but in this case هذه is مبني, so this is في محل رفع مبتدا, and then سيارة is your khabar, and it is also marfu', but it is not mabni. This is mu'rab. It is marfu'un bidhamma. It is khabarun marfu'un bidhamma. And then what is al-mudarrisi? Al-mudarrisi in this case is the mudaf ilayhi majrurun bil kasra, and you can see the kasra there. So these are the alamatu i'rab that are asliya for the asma, the fundamental signs of i'rab or inflection for the nouns. This is the teacher's car. Here al-mudarrisun is majrurun because it is the mudafun ilayhi. Now these endings, the dhamma, the fatha, the kasr, are called the primary endings, the alamatu al-i'rabi al-asliyah. There are other endings also which are called the secondary endings. So now we're being introduced to alamatu al-i'rabi al-fara'iyya, the secondary endings, the secondary signs of i'rab. And the following groups of now have these endings. All right, so in the overview we had before, we had separated the alamatu far'iyya of jar, nasb, and khafd and raf into different categories, and we took them individually. So this is going to lump everything together. What nouns use alamatu far', and then it's going to give you the alama. So it is probably easier to go back to the summary and try to memorize the nouns or memorize the signs. So number one of the nouns that use alamatu far' is alamatu far'iyya. The son feminine plural, that's the jam'u muannas salim. Jam'u muannas salim. Only the nasb ending is different in this group. It takes a kasra instead of a fatha. So when it is mansub with a kasra. You know, like muslimatun, it will become muslimatin, and then it will become also muslimatin. Doesn't have muslimatan. For example, you have sa'altu sa'alat al-mudiratul mudarrisati. So this is sa'alat, which is the fi'l, and ta is tanis, and then al-mudira is your fa'il, which is marfu', and then al-mudarisati is your maf'ulun bihi mansubun bil kasra. This is maf'ulun bihi, and it is mansubun, but it is mansubun with a kasra لأنه جمع مؤنث سالم. The headmistress asks the female teachers. So that's the translation. Here, al-mudarrisat takes a kasra instead of a fatha because it is sound feminine plural. That's what usually لأنه جمع مؤنث سالم. Note that in this group, the nasb ending is the same as the jar ending. So it is mudarrisatu, mudarrisatin, and then mudarrisatin. The majrur form and the mansub form are the same. Another class of nouns that use the alamatu far'iyya is the deep throat, and the deep throat are the mamnu'un min as-sarfi. In this group, the jar ending is fatha instead of the kasra. Just like you have the female names or the names that end with ani and the likes. We've taken this in book 1. So haza kitabu Zainaba. In this example, Zainaba is مضاف إليه مجرور, but it is مجرور with a fatha because it is ممنوع من الصرف. And then the other group is the أسماء الخمسة. أسماء الخمسة, the five special nouns. These are two. I don't know what this two is here. The nouns are five. So this two is a mistake in the book. So these are five. And they are abun, akhun, hamun, famun, and zu. These are the asma'ul khamsa, the five nouns. These nouns will take the secondary ending only when they are mudafun and the mudaf ilayhi is not the pronoun of the first person singular, which means whenever they are mudaf and they are not mudaf to ya mutakallim, they will show the sign of i'rab as secondary. They will use al-Arabiyyah far'iyya, except when they are mudaf to ya mutakallim. So if you want to say my brother, it is akhi. You will not have a ya after the kha. But if you want to say your brother, it will be akhuka, akhuka, with a waw before the ka. Alright, in this group, the raf ending is waw, the nasb ending is alif, and the jar ending is ya. Example, ماذا قال أبو بلال? What did Bilal father say? And then you see Abu with a waw. And we've taken this earlier. And then if the mudaf ilayhi is the pronoun of the first person singular, that is, if this asma'ul khamsa, if they are mudaf to ya mutakallim, the noun remains unchanged. So this is basically the same thing we said before. Yadrusu akhi bil jami'a, and there's no waw before the ya. Ata'arifu akhi, do you know my brother? The same. And then when the word famun, it can be used in two ways. It can be used with the mim and without the mim. Famun, of course, means mouth. When it is used with the mim, it declines with alamatu asliya. For example, famuka, famuka, your mouth, and then iftah famaka, open your mouth. So famu with the mim, it is just a normal noun. It's not part of the asma al khamsa. But you can also say the noun, which remain the same thing, and just say it without the mim. So this, if the mim is dropped, now it is part of the asma al khamsa. For example, you say your mouth is small, which is fuka saghiron, fuka saghiron, and then iftah faka, and then maza fi fika. So the summary of this is fu and then famun, they are the same thing. But then famun uses alamatu asliya when it is mudaf, and then fu just behaves like the asma ul khamsa, which means you use either waw, ya, or alif with it, depending of if it is mansub, marfu, or majru. And also the five nouns are declined with special secondary endings only if they are mudaf, as we have seen. Otherwise, they decline with the primary endings. We've mentioned this. Another group that uses the secondary ending from among the noun is the Jam'u Muzakkar Salim. And this is by using a waw to become marfu' and using a ya to become majru, and the same ya to become mansub. So it is like mudarrisuna, mudarrisina, mudarrisina. It's both the majru and the mansub form are the same. For example, dakhala al-mudarrisuna and sa'altu al-mudarrisina. The sign of the nasb, in this case it is mansub because it is mafulun bi, sa'altu al-mudarrisina. And then aina Ghurfatul mudarrisina. In this case, mudarrisina is mudaf ilayhi. So the ya is the sign of jar. Another one is the musanna. We've also taken this, the dual. And the dual, of course, uses an alif for raf, a ya for jar, and the ya also for nasb. So you say ja al mudarrisani. Mudarrisani. In this case, the alif is the sign of its raf because it is marfu, it is the fa'il. Now, ara'ayta al-mudarrisaini, sayni, because it is in this case the maf'ulun bihi and it is mansub, so the ya is its sign of its nasb. Ata'rifina ukhtay Bilalin. And uh, this says you learn more about the omission of the noon in lesson 9. The summary, because look at this. Ata'rifina. This is talking to a lady, auntie, ukhtay Bilalin. So say ukhtay instead of ukhtayni. So the noon has been dropped. We'll learn this in detail in lesson 9, but the basic thing is when you have a musanna, a dual, coming as a mudaf, you don't use the last noon. The last noon is then dropped when it becomes a mudaf. So this is mudaf to Bilalin. So instead of ukhtaini, it became ukhtai. And then the same thing. Akatabti ila ukhtai Bilalin. Ukhtai. The second ukhtai is majru, also majru with a ya. And the first ukhtai is mansub because it is maf'ulun bihi of ta'rifina, and it is also mansubun with a ya. So the first one is mansub with a ya, the second one is majru with a ya. So the sign of the jar and the nasb are the same. And when you use the musanna as a mudaf, you have to drop the noon. All right. I think we should stop here and then we'll talk about al-i'rab wa taqdiri. And we've not spoken about this before in the next class. Barakallahu feekum. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.